This week on MuzoHub, we chat to a couple of guys from local band, the Blister Transistor. Welcome along to the third episode of MuzoHub. This week I'm joined in the studio by the guys from the Blister Transistor, a local up-and-coming band in the Bendigo, Central Victoria area, and also playing around Melbourne. And in the studio with me I have Mark Chatterton and Brad Connor.
That's it.
How you going, guys? Finally got it right.
Thanks for having us.
No worries. I've got to ask for the start, where did the name come from? How did we get the Blister Transistor? Or should I not ask?
It's a pretty boring story. The band originally started when I was young. It was probably about 18 or 19, with Lee, who plays bass with us now, and our original drummer, Pete. And basically, we were just kids stuffing around, and we tried to think of a name that we thought at the time was a bit different to everybody else, and just randomly came up with that. So no special meaning behind it.
Yeah, it's good. No, it's a good name. It sticks in your mind. I think is the main thing, which is good. Maybe I'll start. I just want to, as I usually do, I just want to go through how you got into music and how long you've been in music and that sort of thing. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the band as we go along. So I might start with you, Brad.
Yeah, sure.
What's your first memories of music, or how did you get into music, like drumming, etc.? Have you always been drums?
Yeah, always been drums. I started drumming when I was about 15. Never really taken it too seriously, but just sort of hacked away for, it's been about 16, 17 years now.
Yeah.
And just found it as a good outlet, basically. So,
Excellent. And Mark, what's your first memories of being interested in music or wanting to play, I suppose?
Yeah, I grew up with an older brother, Lee, who's actually in the band. He plays bass with us, and he learnt guitar from a young age and played in bands as a teenager, so I was sort of always around them and interested.
Yeah.
I used to have a bit of a bash on the drums as a teenager as well, but we always had guitars around the house and just sort of started picking them up and stuffing around.
Excellent. And so how many years have you been playing each?
Well, me, like I said, about 16, 17 years. On and off, though, it's not like an everyday routine sort of thing, although I try and play, a bit, enough to be competent.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes I'll have a couple of months off here and there just because I get sick of it.
Yeah, Mark, what's your...
I played in dribs and drabs as a teenager,
Yeah.
but never really sort of owned my own guitar until this band sort of came about, which now is probably, 3 or 4 years, I guess.
It's about 4 years.
In its current existence, so yeah, not too long.
Okay. So have you might have covered that already, but have you had lessons, or have you taught yourselves, or...?
Well, I had lessons for about a year when I was 15 by Scott Symes. I think he's still playing around now, but I'd done that for about a year, and I think one of the last we were stopping for a Christmas break, and one of the last things he said to me was, if you want to really get into it, play along to the bands that you like to play to. Just chuck on the earphones and play along to them, and I didn't go back to him after Christmas. I just kept playing along to bands that I liked, and just done that, and started doing my own thing on top of that, and just looked out for any other influences and stuff. And, yeah.
And yourself, Mark, have you had lessons?
No, I haven't had lessons. I've only sort of ever been a knockabout with the guitar. But yeah, just sort of try and pay attention to what other people do and pick up what I can. But
you find that though, I think you'll find out there's a lot of some of the better musos haven't actually officially learnt any sort of music, and maybe it's a bit of I don't know whether it's a bit of a hindrance. Do you think that maybe if they learn?
I think it's good to learn the chops, to learn the basics at least to start with, so that saves you learning things the wrong way.
Yeah.
Or just Yeah, so it's I think if you get the basics right, and then if you've got the motivation, there's, especially these days, you got all your YouTube, all that sort of stuff to get all your instructional videos and stuff like that. If
Yeah,
you
I
want them
wish
as well. So
wish we had that when I was younger.
yeah,
It's amazing what you can just
oh, it's
any
ridiculous.
subject, not just music, you can pick up. Just like you want to learn something, you get there. Um, so maybe we'll move on to the band now. So four-piece band. Um, so Mark, lead singer and
Yeah,
rhythm
rhythm.
guitar, yeah,
Yep. Rhythmless.
rhythm, and Brad drums, as we mentioned before. And you mentioned your brother on
On bass, that's
yeah,
Lee.
Lee,
Yep.
yep.
And we've got Jeremy on lead guitar.
Jez is it? What do they
Yeah,
call it?
Jezza.
Yeah. I haven't actually
Prodigy.
seen. I must admit, I haven't seen you guys play live yet, but I've heard a lot about you, and I can't wait to actually catch you live. And the stuff I've seen on YouTube, etc., is just, I think, really, really good and tight. Like I was saying,
Jeez.
I was chatting to the guys before, and I said you must have rehearsed a lot, and had a bit of a laugh. But yeah, you obviously, like you say, you've rehearsed enough to get those songs off really tight. Well, what I saw was really, really tight and quite intricate sort of work too. I think is that
Yeah,
how you
well,
describe it?
I guess we kind of like to create a bit of a vibe, like a rhythmic vibe.
Yeah.
We're not caught up in trying to be technical or blazingly fast, but I think it's important to be able to move to a type of, like any type of music.
Yeah.
It's not just pop music. Even the heavier types of music, you should still be able to at least sort of tap your foot along to it or want to move a little bit.
What sort of how would you describe your style of music? Is it something that's based on other particular bands out there, or do you think you've got a bit of your own?
Don't know. It's hard to say. It was probably.
Yeah.
We like we got like 90s influences, the whole Seattle sound and stuff like that. But then there's I don't know. We like everything, anything that's done with any integrity, pretty much. So
Yeah.
it's hard to say.
Yeah. The lyrics.
Yep.
Very, very interesting, the ones I've heard.
Yep.
Do you write the stuff, Mark? Do you write the
Yep. Yeah, I write all of our lyrics.
Yeah.
And mostly it's just sort of everyday stuff. So I write about people and money and
A bit of stress relief by the sound
it
of
is, yeah.
too,
It's a bit of a vent.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, event, yeah. And Jez, who can't be here tonight, fantastic guitarist.
He is. He's a
absolutely,
shredder.
oh yeah.
Yep.
When I first had a look at your site, I've just gone, whoa.
Yep.
But I mean, the whole band, I think, just clicks. It's like you're a good team. So,
Yep.
So how long have you been together?
It's a good question. It'd be about 4
Yeah,
years.
it'd be about 4 years.
Yeah.
I used to be in a cover band with Jez back when I was 17, 18. And he's a few years older than us. He's getting on. But yeah, I was like the pup in this cover band, and that's how I got to know him. And he sort of went off and had a family. We all sort of dispersed and joined different bands and stuff like that. And it was just by chance, pretty much, that Mark ended up getting introduced to him through a mutual friend, and got me back in the fold. I think they was sort of talking one day about drummers, and I've come up between the both of them, and like, wow, let's see what he's doing.
Yeah. So how do you find trying to get gigs, not just locally, but Melbourne, etc.? Is it?
It's been tough.
tricky.
Yeah, it's been tough. We generally get pretty good feedback, especially from bands we play with. But in Melbourne, there's sort of a way things operate, and I don't necessarily agree with the way the whole setup operates, but that's the way it is. But I think for out-of-towners just trying to get in at the bottom level, basically, it's pretty tough.
Pretty tough,
Yep.
yeah. And what about the local music scene? Is it? I was talking to had Cole Thompson on last episode, and I was saying how the music scene seems to have evolved and grown a lot in the last couple of years in Bendigo. I think that I come from a covers band background, but there seems to be, I thought there seemed to be more gigs for originals bands around than what there was, or?
It's interesting. Like I know with Cole's stuff, the blues and roots stuff, it's exploded, and it's great to see. It's really good. And Cole's doing an amazing job with his whole team. For the alternative bands, I think the music's never really in fashion, so there's going to be times where it's tough to get gigs, and there's definitely plenty of talented bands around, lots of talented musos. It's just getting the people to come out and have a look at it.
Yeah,
I think it's with the venues as well. Like back 10, 15 years ago when we first started going out, there was like 5, 6 places you can go and see original bands. And these days it's sort of dropped off a bit. I think there's not as many to accommodate the bands that are out there. They're sort of all struggling for space.
Do you think it's that you need someone or a group of people, someone like Cole, to promote the alternative bands a bit more, or put it all together a bit more?
Yeah, I think it would help. Like I really do think the talent's out there, and look, I know that there's several sort of alternative bands that don't really play up in Bendigo at all anymore because they've got their foot in the door up the road, and it can be hard to get. It's more the public support. So I reckon like a figurehead, especially someone like Cole who does amazing work, to build a community, because that's really what you need to do around that sort of genre.
Yeah.
I reckon that'd be really beneficial. Yeah.
Might be something for you guys to think about.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
My managerial skills aren't great.
I'm sure you'll be fine. So, what sort of the original songs that you're doing? How many have you got? Have you been recording or anything? Have you got anything out there for people to check out?
We've got our live stuff, which only surfaced probably a couple of weeks ago. We basically went down and recorded live at the Newmarket Hotel in town. I think we put up 8 tracks in the end. Which was basically a full set. Like if we'd have gone down that weekend and played at the pub, that sort of would have been the full set. So yeah, we've got the audio and the video up from that, and hopefully later this year we'll do some recording.
So how can people find that? Is it on YouTube or?
Yeah, we've got a channel on YouTube which you can access via our Facebook page, or if you just search the Blister Transistor, you'll see it. There's some 2013 sort of live videos on there.
Excellent. And what's the best way if people want to catch you at a gig? Is it just keep an eye on your Facebook or?
Yep, for sure.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we'll put up posters and all that sort of stuff around town. We get support from some of the local businesses. Muso stuff have been great to us. And helping us try and promote our shows and our sort of loyal group of friends that support us. So we try and get word of mouth out there, but ultimately.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Any thoughts of putting any EP or anything out, or?
Hopefully this year we'll get the time. We'll get the time to do it. We don't really have the intention of being a studio band. We like to play live, just because we like that vibe, like that live feel. So hopefully we'll get the time to do that.
So have that sort of live feel on your recording when you do put it out there.
Yep.
We've tried recording the click tracks before and recorded as separate. Separately from each other, and it's tricky. It doesn't have that same feel.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree with that. I tend to like the live sort of feel. It doesn't matter what genre of music. I think it feels more like what it would be like if you're out there.
Yeah.
But having said that, I can see there is a place where you do.
Oh, definitely the place. But like for us, when we've like experimented with it and listened to it, we just sort of say, that doesn't sound or feel like us.
Yeah, it's loses its feel.
Yep.
Excellent, guys. Any tips that you could give to anyone out there that's a closet player or a young musician or someone that's a bit keen on music? Or even if they're already started, and they're wanting to get into a band or whatever? Any sort of ideas that you'd?
Other than if it's something you really want to do, there's. Stick to it, do the hard yards, practice a lot, whether it's by yourself or with your band, and just enjoy it.
So your feelings, Mark, similar?
Yeah, I think so, and I reckon play with as many people as possible. Like, generally speaking, musos just love to play. You shouldn't be intimidated by someone if you think they're a great player and you're worried that you're not going to be able to keep up with them. Just go and play with people and have fun.
Excellent, yeah. I suppose the jam sessions, open mic sessions around town are a good way if you're not in a band.
Yep, for sure.
And not just Bendigo either, anywhere else around that's got those. It's probably a good way. You might feel a bit timid for the start, but if you head along there and just watch for a few times.
Yeah, and even have a chat to people down there and see if you can tee up a bit of a jam.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, excellent. Okay, thanks guys. Really appreciate you coming along, having a chat.
Thank you.
It wasn't too
That was all right.
arduous.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, thanks for having
And
us.
we're going to play a track from your live recording you did at the Newmarket, and I'll let you guys introduce it if you like.
Okay, this is a track we wrote last year. It's Monopoly.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty new song, but it's one we really like. We think it sort of captures our sort of live sort of rock sound.
And the story behind Monopoly?
Monopoly is a song I sort of came up with, I'd say it was early last year. And it's a song about money and people chasing money. So I think you can probably pick up that vibe if you have a listen to it.
Okay, thanks guys again. And here is the Blister Transistor with Monopoly.
The electric company's got nothing on me. I got a flat on Coventry. The police bikes on Oxford streets. Guessing the taxis are death of me. But I'll roll again. Can't take the chance on a little romance. Yacht the strand. It's a plan. I'm thinking. If you'd like to stay connected with MuzoHub, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter.